What is Wendigo psychosis? This ties into what we were talking about before on Wendigos. If you haven't seen that yet, I posted about it before this. So, Wendigo psychosis is when somebody, a human person, is possessed by a Wendigo. The main symptom is when somebody displays the characteristics of wanting to eat somebody, basically eat another human being. They are craving human flesh. But it's more than just cannibalism. So it's when a Wendigo or an evil spirit attached to a Wendigo specifically inhabits you or possesses you. And this can come out of nowhere even. It can seem as if you're close enough to resources but you still choose cannibalism, then people will look at you in certain areas of the US and Canada and be like, okay, this person might just be possessed by a Wendigo, and they're in the process of potentially turning into a Wendigo. Indigenous peoples would actually also perform dance ceremonies and dance rituals in order to prevent Wendigos from possessing them or anybody else that they love. The last known ceremony of this kind that has been performed was actually in Star Island of Cass Lake in Minnesota. Oftentimes, people who would present as having a taste for human flesh, having cannibalistic tendencies, would actually be killed because of fear of that person turning into a Wendigo. Even if you were a loved one of, like, a society, if you were very highly valued in a society, if you, again, displayed cannibalistic tendencies, wanting to eat human flesh, you would 9 times at least out of 10 you would be killed. So then this way you won't turn into a Wendigo, and then you also wouldn't try and kill anybody of, like, any of your family, friends, or just anybody in general. The only recommended treatment to help somebody who is potentially turning into a Wendigo is to provide them with fatty meat or fat meat grease. They would ingest this and then they would expel ice. They would basically throw up ice. This is a literal representation of the Wendigo spirit leaving your body. It's possible for Wendigo psychosis to even be talked about prior to it being labeled as Wendigo psychosis, or for Wendigos to be labeled as such. There's even excerpts that have been found from around the 1600s that have talked about Wendigo psychosis, not labeling it as Wendigo psychosis, but talking about, like, this creature that craves human flesh. Of course, Western psychologists claim that all this is hearsay and that it is a phenomena based upon no real evidence.